ask for a roll call.
Blunier.
Here.
Hilliard.
Here.
Leach.
Here.
Menold.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
Parrott.
Here.
We have a quorum.
You all join me in a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It is nice to have such a big crowd here. The Pledge of Allegiance really sounds good with a big crowd. So we're here to celebrate the girls' 8th grade volleyball championship. So Coach, if you'd bring your team up here, and Chief Sean Dars, Village Clerk Zoe Evans. We have an unusual situation. We have 2 fathers on the board here. So why don't you come on over a little bit because they'll be wanting to take pictures. Craig, you got your camera?
Yeah.
Okay. Come in here a little bit. Let's come in here a little bit more.
Double.
So I hear you have a record of 58-3 for 2 years, and a couple state championships. So I've decided the mayor's going to talk very little, and these fathers are going to talk, and the coach. And where's your assistant coaches? Get them up here. Okay? All right, Chief? Rashawn?
I wanted to thank the mayor and the board for being willing to have the team here tonight. Like the mayor stated, it's kind of a unique circumstance where there's 2 people that are involved in the village government that also have players on the team. Again, you know, we're celebrating the championship for 8th grade, but also it's a unique circumstance in that they're repeat champions. They won the 4A state championship in 7th grade also. I believe they were 30-1 this year, which is something to commend the players and the coaches for. But more importantly, I think, at least from my standpoint, I want to recognize that this is, again, what we talk about here in Morton, and what we're very thankful for is community involvement, good schools, things like that. You know, it's really something to see this weekend. We have nice facilities at the junior high, and I'm sure that when they planned and built that, they had hoped one day that they could host a state championship in that gymnasium, and they were able to realize that this weekend. And it was great to see the crowd that turned out, and I just commend the players again and both of the coaches. And so we'll go ahead and have the head coach speak, Jordan Williams.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for having us and for the honor and recognizing this awesome team. The group is so deserving of the honor and the recognition. Something I said that I don't think you realize is just how much hard work it takes to win a state championship, and then how much harder it is to win a second time and defend that title. All year we got everybody's best game. They played with a target on their back, and so we had a lot of discussions about how to play with a target on your back and how to handle that pressure, and they did it with ease, and it was just really impressive to watch them. A key part of this team that makes them unique is just how balanced the team is and how many people can contribute on a night. I say we have the deepest team in the state, not just the best team, but the deepest team. Most teams in the tournament rely on 1 or 2 key players to carry the load and to do everything, and the whole goal is so that those 2 players touch the ball every time. And that's not how we build our team. It's not how we build a program. And it's what makes us unique. At any time, I kind of said that we were the ultimate team all year when people would ask. At any moment, someone could be a leader. And then at any moment, someone could, if someone was having an off time, they didn't have to carry the burden of the team and carry the weight on their shoulders, because they could rely and trust on their teammates to carry that load for them. We have a lot of great players that could step in off the bench and sub in and play at just the same level as everybody else. It was so fun to be able to see them do that and to have 15 complete players on the team. With that, it's really nice to see they don't have to have the pressure of trying to be the star. And I think what's even cooler is that no one tries to be the star on the team. Everything about this team and everything about the way that the parents helped us build the program, everything the way that Coach Odom built the team last year as well, and the way that we continue to do it is it is about the team, and it is about like the teamwork and the team effort and not being the star, and we never had to remind them one time about that. It's something you don't see in youth sports as much anymore. It's something that that we are lucky to have, and it's something the team remains focused on. Is that it's about the team win, and it's not about individuals, and it's really refreshing to see that. They often get compliments from officials and other coaches on their sportsmanship, their kindness, and disciplined teamwork, even before their incredible skill. The team is always great about thanking the refs after every single match. It's something that we get compliments on. The number of emails that I've already received in the last few days from officials that have had us throughout the year, and they're like, we were secretly rooting for you guys because of the way that you guys carry yourself and the way that your teammates, or the way that your team plays together and the way that they carry themselves and the way that your fans treat us and stuff. There are a lot of people that are out there that are Morton volleyball fans that are outside of the community. With the way this group of girls has represented the Morton community, made a name for us, and simultaneously made us proud over their play of the last 2 years. Like they said, we went 58-3 over the last 2 years, 30-1. But all of that, there's so many more things to be proud of than just their record. It's more than fitting that they're getting this recognition from the village as the village board as back-to-back state champions, and very fitting and deserving of this honor. Thank you.
I'm Zoe Evans. I'm the village clerk. I have a stepdaughter, Kylie, on the team that I'm about to embarrass. I don't say much at village board meetings, so this is a unique opportunity for me to get up here and say something. But I just want to reiterate what Chief and Coach and Mayor Kaufman have already said, that it was truly a team effort. Everybody had their place. Everybody stepped up, no matter what it was. Everybody came in and did their part. So you should all be very proud of that, from the girls on the team also to the parents. So congratulations and thank you.
It is quite an accomplishment, so it's congratulations to each of you. We're going to have some pictures. Our father's over here. And I just want you to know, Morton's a team about everything, and this group of gentlemen here is the exact team that worked with the school board to put that 182-car parking lot behind the junior high. We closed the street, bought 6 houses, and tore 5 down, and moved 1 neighbor, and got it done, working with the school board. So let's have some pictures here. Come on, guys.
You can go up there and take pictures if you want to. Why you gotta know trapped? Don't move.
I would stumble and fall. I wouldn't look coordinated. I think you're in the center.
So there is no public hearings, public comment. Anybody has a comment they'd like to make? And we can continue to talk about volleyball too, so if anybody wants to make a comment. Okay. All right, the consent agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes, the regular meeting March 4th, 2024, and the approval of the bills. If we could have a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Any comments? Call the roll.
Blunier?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Menold?
Yes.
Parrott?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
As you notice, he counts mostly, he doesn't talk too much. So you're free to leave if you like, but you're more than welcome to stay, okay?
There they go.
Thanks for all coming out.
Here goes our public.
Are we that boring? What's the ordinance?
Well, let's see, the chief's wife didn't stay, that's right. The clerk's wife didn't stay.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right. Tonight, I have 3 appointments for the Planning Commission to continue their terms. Bill Opperly, Grant Barton, Phil Zobrist, for another term that will expire 4/30/29 to continue their service on the Planning Commission. If we could have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comment? Call the roll.
Mennel,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Leach,
Yes.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Also have 2 appointments to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Kurt Butterfield and Scott Kelso, and their terms also would expire 4/30/29 to the Zoning Board of Appeals. If we could have a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Call the roll.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Leach,
Yes.
Mennel,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Village Clerk,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Village Administrator.
I have a couple items tonight, Your Honor. First is Resolution 26-24, which is a resolution removing designation of certain monies for certain purposes.
If we could have a motion.
So moved. Second.
Want to make a comment there?
Yes, but in the past, the village board had designated tourism, 10% of the tourism funds to be set aside for a building project, either to rehabilitate the building that they were in or to build something new. And we don't currently foresee doing any building with that money, so we would like to stop designating the funds and then also to redesignate the funds that are in the existing building fund to general operating funds, which could only be used as required by state statute for tourism monies.
Any questions? So what if, when we build the building at Church Square?
We'll have all the money spent by then.
That was good.
No, you can use general operating funds for that, but
Okay. Any comments? All right, call the roll.
Blunier,
Yes.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Mennel,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
motion carries.
the second item tonight is building improvement grant recommendations from the Business District Commission. They met last week and approved 2 recommendations. The first one's for Integrated Health, which is building out at 825 West Jackson Plaza, kind of directly across from Kroger there next to the cleaners. And they needed assistance with signage for a approval amount of $3,344.50. And the second of which is a amendment of a previous approved grant for Morton Cinemas. They didn't realize that they could apply for more than one thing at a time, and they didn't also realize you can only apply once every 5 years. So once she found that out, they came back to the commission and asked that they could amend their previous application to include both signs that they were going to do, like one down the road in about 6 months, so that way they would replace all the signage on their outside, or update all the signage on their outside area. So that approval was for $2,896.50.
We can have a motion?
I move to approve the business district grant as listed. Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Parrot,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Mennel,
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Blunier,
Yes.
Hilliard,
Yes.
motion carries.
Chief of Police,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
thank you. Corporation Counsel,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Director of Fire Emergencies,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Director of Public Works.
One item tonight, Your Honor. I'd like to ask for acceptance of bid for water distribution materials to Corin, Maine in the amount of $95,917.60.
You have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Yeah, this is our work to be planned for this year in FY '25. We haven't had the budget meeting yet. We don't intend to pay for it until FY '25, but we'd like to get started on that. And this is under what we proposed to be a $150,000 budget, so this falls within that. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments? Not, call the roll.
Leach.
Yes.
Menold.
Yes.
Parrot.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We'll move on to the trustees. Trustee Leach.
Yes, one item tonight, Your Honor, is resolution number, oh, sorry, wrong one. Get the right thing. Ordinance 24-33, dealing with service fees for the assistance of ambulation, and I'd like to move approval of that.
We can have a motion.
Second.
Any comment or questions?
I'm not in favor of this. I spoke the last time about this, and my stance is the same, that I think that, I'm one fall away from getting charged myself, It just takes one, and the next one, and I think it's excessive. I think that our village staff, it's part of their responsibilities. We pay taxes here. I spoke the last time of, for some reason that escapes me, I locked my keys in my truck. Didn't know what to turn. I had to go. I called the police. They were more than willing to come out and unlock my truck. I know there's not much risk in that, but this is another one of the services that I believe that that department provides. I get the excessiveness of it. I did some homework, talked to fire chief of a large municipality. Yes, they have people that abuse the service. They know they're going to come out there once a week or every other day sometimes or whatever. I get that part, but I don't believe where we're going with this. Again, had a neighbor, if it wouldn't have been me, they'd been calling the fire department or the paramedics more often. I went over there and helped them. So I just think that two falls is excessive, and I'm not in favor of it.
So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that what we're talking about is not really the fall. It's the key word in the ordinance is the word ambulation, which is the act of walking, going from one place to another on your own abilities. And with that, what we're talking about is not somebody who would have fallen, because we would all worry that somebody might have fallen and gotten hurt. We're talking in this specific item, assisting somebody who we might have been called to help somebody get to bed or get out of bed. So the key word is ambulation, or the act of walking. If they can't do that, is it because they got hurt? Well, there's no charge for that. This is strictly going out and assisting somebody who would need assistance in getting from a chair to a bed, a chair to the bathroom, or whatever. That's what this is for. And from my perspective, I agree with you, Trustee Menold, that I don't want anybody to fear calling if somebody has fallen, or they're afraid they may have fallen and they're not sure if something's hurt. So from that, I don't want them to worry about that, and that's not what this is for. We're just trying to eliminate the issue of somebody calling on a regular basis asking us to put somebody to bed. But if
somebody needs that, I think that they should be willing to pay for it. They can hire another service, or they could, do this. The charge is merely trying to make it so that we don't want to charge anybody. We don't want the money. We just want them to solve that particular issue of walking or ambulating from one place to another without getting us involved. It's not an emergency. And then the only other thing, and I don't say this to put a scare into anybody, but we have 2 ambulances. If one of those is out on a call, we get a call for ambulation to go, to put somebody to bed. We have to finish the call. If there's another emergency that comes in, we would have to call in, Washington, East Peoria, or another service to come in and take care of the third one. And that's the issue is that if we're going to have the 2, was the ambulance service set up to handle emergencies, or was it set up to handle emergencies and assist people walking? And that's the way I'm not sure that this was ever an intent that the fire department or the paramedics, would take this on. But I'm just trying to reduce the number of calls that we get for it.
If I might, so if somebody's calling to get from a chair to a bed, or getting from whatever, then it's happening more than, that's not what we're talking about here. Then it's 3 times a day or something. If they can't ambulate, they calling you out 3 times a day. Probably not. This is somebody that an event happened that they can't do it twice in 1 month. So I think it's excessive.
Well,
and I'm not here to argue with you. I'm telling you my opinion.
I understand.
So if it's 5, then that would create okay, this is excessive. This is and this is what the chief of another municipality said, yeah, people abuse it, and they're coming out to give them a drink of water. They come, what is it tonight, Bob? Well, can I get a drink of water, or whatever. And it's excessive, and we all get that. But I think 2 isn't the number. Maybe it's 5. Then it's abusive.
Trustee Leach, I have a question for you.
Sure.
On what you talked about, the ambulation, moving one from the other. So if somebody falls and you pick them up and you move them from point A to point B, is that not ambulation? Because you helped ambulate them from point A, which was on the ground, up to the chair or to the couch or to the bed. And they have a refusal or sign a refusal. They don't want any transportation. They're not really injured to any degree that happened, other than they just weren't physically able to get themselves up off the ground. No one at the residence had the strength or was maybe even there to help it. Would that not fall into this?
No, and the reason why is because they fell, and in the call, they couldn't get up, so the paramedics have to check and make sure that they're actually okay, all right? And so from that, our fear would be is that maybe we need to take them to the hospital, but if they don't want to go, that's fine. But in that instance, no, there would not be a charge for that.
Are the medics not also checking just to verify that they're okay if they move them from the chair to the bed? Aren't they going to be checking and inquiring, hey, are you okay? There's some reason why you can't get up and make it. Are you okay? In my history, the answer is yes, they do. So would you like to?
We always talk to people when we go out there. And if we identify that, hey, they can't get from the chair to bed tonight because they may be running a fever or they may be sick, that's not what we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. We're talking about where we're specifically called to move them to bed because they don't have any other help, or help can't be there for them that night. And we do see that occasionally right now, to where they know they're specifically calling us just to assist them to bed, for example.
Do the police still respond to to medical calls such as this?
In most circumstances, yes. Oftentimes, they attempt to differentiate between a fall and just moving them from A to B. If they would require moving from A to B, I would say that if the police responded, sometimes that's accomplished with the police officer because they're out on patrol and can respond more expeditiously. But if they fall, then the police would still respond, but they would not attempt to move the patient if they fell.
I'm not too.
If I may, what kind of problem are we talking about here? What's the frequency of these type of calls?
So I looked at that today, and for the last year, in the neighborhood of less than 50. And I didn't go back and look at each individual call. I tried to run a report for basically assistance with personal care. And that's one thing we're trying to do now is code things specifically so we can better watch these calls that we're going for.
That would take the individual that's inputting that in there to get that in there the way
Yes.
you want it to be able to
Yes.
access
Because no
that.
matter what call we go on, we do keep a record of that, like
Right.
the police do. And we code it in a certain way, and we're trying to better do that going forward.
I guess it's the old garbage in, garbage out at work. No info in, no info out.
Right, yeah. So we want
So-
to we want to monitor.
Well, it's also like the police department, I believe every supervisor, every report's reviewed by the
Yeah.
supervisor. It's not just the paramedic themselves entering the information.
Yeah, there's a QA process for every single charge that's written.
Okay. And these 50 calls that you spoke of, are those repeated calls?
So I wasn't able to exactly pull
Because
that
to me,
numbers.
you're going to have to go into the CAD system.
Yeah, we're gonna have
into
to
the
look.
nature,
Mhm.
find out
Right.
which calls were of a
Right,
list
and
or
so
movement.
basically what we're gonna do, by the way we code them, every month, we're gonna go back and look at that entire month for those specific calls and track them that way to see.
So the mechanics of the billing would actually be done by Village Hall and not by the paramedics. We don't have to worry about HIPAA information because it would just be a bill for ambulation. And so as you look at it, this actually says that if you had 2 or more occasions, you would be charged, which means you get one free one out of any 12-month period, 12-month rolling 12-month period. That way, though, the village staff would be able to keep track on their accounting system. They can look up and see, have we ever billed for this person? And if we have, has it been in the last 12 months? And if we haven't, they wouldn't get a bill for it. They would probably get some type of notice, saying that it was no charge, but there wouldn't be any charge for that. So that information will also then be kept at Village Hall. We should be able to do the exact same thing at Village Hall.
So we have one occurrence a week. We're talking about once a week, we have somebody that needs ambulation. 50 a year.
What we see sometimes is we'll see occurrence with one particular address. And our paramedics do. They try to identify this ahead of time. They try to provide resources to them. And I think generally those resources do come, but sometimes it's a little slow. And so that's really what we're trying to make sure we get them the appropriate assistance that they need long term.
And I'm for that. Help them get the assistance they need, but I'm not for billing them for us providing a service. I sat here 20 minutes ago and watched us talk about community with the young junior high volleyball team. And then I see us sitting here looking at doing just the opposite to our elderly. And that's what I see this is. I see it and I don't like the phrase targeting, but there's sort of the target group here that I see having more of the issue with this. And then on top of that, you look that they're a group that also is on a fixed income. And I think that we need to protect those people in our community. I'm not really supportive of charging them. I know that Trustee Mennel mentioned, 5 times versus 2. I don't know how I'm accepting of that or not. But I have a concern with this, that we're doing that. I find it a little bit shameful that I'm even sitting here looking, discussing this on our people. So I have to get by that.
But I think we have to have a concern on a medical emergency.
I also, Mayor, and I'm sorry about interrupting, but I also see that it may be throwing a blanket over one issue, and if we have an issue that the medics see as a problem, then maybe we should address that one specific on its own and what we want to deal with that. So that's a possibility too, of how we want to deal with that. But instead of just across the board, we're going to do this. And
I 100% agree with you on that I don't want to, target elderly, folks at all. When we want to protect them, and I agree with you, Trustee Mennel. As far as if we fall, and I think Trustee Leach kind of cleared this up. If there's falls, if there's anything, in my opinion, anything remotely medical, I don't want them charged. If there's a fall, because an elderly person falls in their home and lays there, that could mean they could pass away from laying on the ground. So I don't want anybody to be fearful of calling, because they might get charged. But I also, on the other hand, want to not have abuses and misuse of the resources we have. We have limited resources, and I don't want somebody calling 3 days a week, to get a glass of water. You mentioned glass of water, to get me a drink of water 3 days a week. We would still go out on those calls. Do I think that happens? Probably not very often. But this gives us a way to prevent that, or help prevent that from the abuses from happening. And I don't think the way this is worded and the way Trustee Leach has explained it, I don't believe this is going to affect 99.9% of people. It's going to stop the abuse, but the people that truly need, fallen, it's not going to affect them getting up. But the folks that are not ambulatory the way they should, and as Mr. Hale said, as far as the repeat stuff and getting them the resources, well, I think that happens. Probably the first time you go out, they can't get up. That they're giving them resources. Hey, call here, to help with that. And and maybe you mentioned having more times. I'd be open to having another freebie. But I think there has to be a limit there somewhere of you can't just keep calling 3 days a week to get a glass of water, or to move from the chair to the couch, or the chair to the bed. I think there needs to be a limit of some kind on that.
If there's abuse to that, the numbers don't show. It's once a week. Once a week for the last year.
The average is once a week. If you average it across the year,
Yeah,
it's
50 times.
the 50 times a year. It averages to once a week. But we don't. Maybe we don't have the data but my understanding, kind of the part of this coming up is, there's been several that have been repeat. That you go to a repeat. Is that correct? That it's not 50 once every week. It's maybe 3 in a week to the same address, and then
I get that.
a couple weeks.
I get it.
But you go back to the medical emergency, that's still 50 chances somebody's having a heart attack and our ambulances are out, and one of them could be putting somebody to bed.
Can I weigh in on this? Sir?
Yeah.
I agree with Trustee Leach and Trustee Parrott. In summary, we're trying to separate emergencies from non-emergencies. That's really what we're trying to do. And it may just be a handful of offenders. Like the amount of the population ends up in jail is not as great as the population itself. It's just a few offenders that have to be taken out of circulation and put away. I think this one free call is a coaching opportunity. When you go to that house and you tell them, look, you have to find another way to go from your bed to the bathroom, because we can't do that. And then, as the mayor says, there's that opportunity where that ambulance isn't available for a critical call. I think it's similar to the police and the dog calls they used to make all the time. That kept them busy, but it really wasn't in their avenue. And now that we use Tazewell County, I think it's a lot better idea, so they can spend their time on more critical things. So I think that it's a good idea, and I think it's well worded, it's well put together, and it clearly separates emergencies from non-emergencies. I think it's a good idea, and I support it.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I'm just not sure that emergency and non-emergency is the way to do it, because the ambulance medics respond to BLS calls, which may not be as an urgent or emergency as the ALS calls. And we all respond to those calls that is an emergency. Well, it's an emergency for somebody, but where we want to define that, and I know what you're trying to say, I'm not sure I go with the verbiage, but at the same time, I use my own verbiage I don't like, so.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Blunier.
Did you say my name? I'm
Yes,
sorry,
sir.
I didn't hear you. Yes.
Hilliard.
No.
Leach.
Yes.
Menold.
No.
Newman.
No.
Parrot.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Trustee Leach, anything else?
That's all tonight, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any other trustees have anything tonight? If not, we have no closed sessions needed, so we can have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Need me for anything?